Alright, we're back with more Red Pearls of Borneo. I've got like a little peek behind the curtain here. Um, yeah, I'll tell the story. So when I was sitting out today, I had to replug my monitor in, my secondary monitor in. And it's just like a little cheapo one that's really tiny. It's just there so that I can see my OBS as it's recording, make sure it is recording things like that. And God, it was a nightmare to replug back in. It literally super glues to the desk, so the super glue's like come off and it's falling everywhere, but you know, there's life when you're a famous streamer such as myself. So we know that these four were at least in the clubhouse, and we're trying to figure out who is in the clubhouse. So Jeremiah Goodwill, Lucas Sterling, Dieter von Guttram, and Edward Bonfire. This was at 19 o'clock. So 19 o'clock, we know it was these people here, and perhaps Canaan. But apparently there was someone else. And we know that these two people rushed in because they heard an explosion, right? So you'd expect that these two would be the ones in there. Or at least, you know, Edward, because he's the one that's making the vodka. And Teresa, you're not here. Dita, are you here? At some stage, there's just Edward, you know? Maybe there's Vitalina as well, you know? Edward, what are you doing? How about you, Vitalina? Are you in here as well? Nope. Okay, there's just no one in here, apparently. Let us have a look at this time. So this is come, let's go. And Canaan leaves here as well. And we don't see another woman. My mum is already here having her first sundowner. So right here we know that there is on the veranda the mum's here. Right, yeah, correct. So she spots someone outside and runs to meet her. Reckon that and Loon is here as well, because Loon saw Teresa here, right? So it honestly could be anyone out here on the thing. Now here in the worker quarters, okay, you are a jugger. What's a jugger again? A guard, right? Okay. Alamek Kanan rushes to the clubhouse to investigate. Right. And in the kitchen, there is Aisha going to here at the same time. From the clubhouse towards the jungle entrance, it's Canaan. So Canaan leaves the jungle. We could write this. Canaan enters and leaves the clubhouse. And then we see Canaan go to the jungle entrance around about this time. We also know that at some stage, probably here-ish, Dita and he tests a concealment, nodding. He uses a tool. Alright, this is where he's opening a thing. He tucks the bottle under his arm and hurries off, disappearing towards a distant cove. So we've got the distant cove as well, right? Is that here? The secluded beach? Is Dita von Guttram and Aisha here in the secluded beach? Yes, okay, perfect. The secluded beach is empty, save for Dieter von Guttram and Aisha, standing in the shadow of the large limestone cliffs. Is all in readiness, Aisha? The jungle track to the bungalow is unguarded, Tuan. Excellent, and our guest. Captain Jiro will be signaling at sundown. I have trimmed the lamp and set it upon the ridge as a beacon. I shall be glad when this is all over. The waiting is killing me. You best be right, Mr. von Guttram. If the venture fails, it is not merely my situation on the line. It is our very necks. Have faith, my dear. The chaos will be over our cover. No one will suspect us. I shall see that Kanan is occupied. You must ensure the company remains at the table in the dining room. Aisha turns and slips away into the undergrowth. Dieter von Guttram remains for a moment, watching the tide. When he is sitting is unobserved, he makes his way back towards the croquet lawn. Right, so at the croquet lawn is Dieter and perhaps Teresa, because Teresa goes out to meet someone. Yes. Teresa McIntyre from the veranda. Dieter! Wait, do you want a sundowner? With a bottle of cornbread in his hand, right? No, thank you, Teresa. Bone and Jiro are waiting for me at the clubhouse. So Jiro is at the clubhouse as well. Teresa McIntyre runs on over to catch up with him. Please, Dieter, I need a friend to talk to. Can I just accompany you on the way? Of course, my dear. You know I always have time for you. Jeremiah is frantic about the pearls. No one wants to touch them in their current state. I know I act like I don't care, but if we lose this plantation... Jerry and Bones are idiots, the both of them. Ha ha ha. This red swirl would never have happened in our oyster farms back home before the war. What do you mean? Do you know something? I'm not helping them, and neither should you. Not after what he did to you. Why would you help him? Because they're your friends. Friends? What kind of friends are they to me, really? They only tolerate me but I know what they say behind my back. There's no love lost between them and the Germans. I wouldn't be surprised if they thought I was a Nazi, despite everything we've been through, just because of my heritage. To hell with them. Just tell me, for old sake, please. It's not a curse, Teresa, that's all I'll say. You need to tell them how to fix it. You're a good man, don't be so petty. Teresa McIntyre walks back to the veranda. Dieter von Guttram resumes his walk to the clubhouse. Right, so Jiro is at the clubhouse. That's what we know. But we need to know Jiro's last name. Yes. And whether this is actually Jiro. Because, you know, maybe he's a bonfire, you know? When Jiro Hera. No, there's a Captain Hera. When she's entering, she just says it's Jiro, right? When they're at the veranda. And at the secluded beach, is it down here? Is it Kanan by himself? Huh, okay. Because yeah. We also know partially who's here because of the bias statement. Cynthia, Jeremiah, Rose Goodwill, Vidia Lena. Right. So let's put those all in. Jeremiah. Vidalina. Rose. Oh, who else? Yeah, Jeremiah, Cynthia, Rose, Vidalina. Jeremiah, Cynthia, Rose, and Vidalina. Maybe Luna and Lucas as well. Because I remember them being mentioned later. Jeremiah Goodwill sits back down and first turns to Cynthia Seville. Right. Okay, it's mostly but the well, yes and no. Lucas is correct though, I shouldn't change a thing. I never would have met my intended otherwise. Right, so Lucas is definitely here as well. Jeremiah, Vidalina, Cynthia, and Rose. Perhaps. Alrighty, who's in this scene? Let's find out from the biohazard. Ludwig Harrow walks over to Rose Goodwill and Cynthia Civil. So Ludwig is here as well. And then over here in the biohazard sample, we got Rose Goodwill and Cynthia Civil. Watch them go. Rose Goodwill turns towards Jeremiah Goodwill and laughs. Vidalina and Rose walk out of the room. So here we've got Vidalina, Rose, Vidalina, Rose, Cynthia, Jeremiah. Cynthia. No, okay. Teresa walks back to the veranda here. The boathouse. We need to find out Jiro's name. We know someone goes to the chapel at some stage, right? There was like someone that was religious. This is a British, right? Okay. The nuns. When with the bridge, we're coming a Chandu. Right. There's nothing right. Okay. Coming from the observation deck. That's the mum. Alrighty. Going in between this, so no guesses that it's Loon Goodwill looking giddy. We know that someone was religious and went to the chapel. Dita, right. Jerry and Bone are both idiots. Right. The dining room here. We got all of those. Who was that man, Jeremiah? Right. And then we see here that Cynthia Savelle goes to the bedroom as Jeremiah Goodwill heads out to find some companionship. So where does Jeremiah go to after this? Possibly to somewhere else. We also need to know, in the guest house here, this is where Lucas and Loon are. And we know that Teresa is screaming. In Teresa's room, is it Jeremiah? Where Teresa? No. But we know that she's screaming because of perhaps she's in love with Dita. Okay. I thought that she might just be having a nightmare, but you know, always good to double check. The veranda here. Okay, yeah, so this is the explosion. But Jiro doesn't, right? For you, as they move, the group coalesces, right, as they move towards the dining room. So in the dining room, there's at least Vidalina, Rose, and Edward. Maybe Loon. Let's just put everyone in, basically. We'll see if everyone's here. So, Rose, Cynthia, Jeremiah, Vidalina, Edward, Loon and Lucas, maybe Teresa, maybe Dita, maybe Kanan, or maybe Aisha. Because we know that the workers' quarters. Yeah, I thought that nothing would happen at that hour, but it's always good to double check. Alamak, what in the blazes is that? Okay, let's have a look what Edward... Well, we know that Edward's in the clubhouse at this stage. Where is Cynthia? Right, because she gets on via the train, right? Teresa is alone on the veranda. Maybe it's Teresa and Rose here? Maybe we can look at the photograph, seeing as that's here. Maybe we can, like, study the study with the rotary telephone. Cynthia's here. Okay, let's focus on Cynthia in that case. Yes, hello, District Office. This is Miss Savell, representing the firm of Sterling and Cooper. I'm calling to confirm my arrival at the Goodwill Plantation. Please convey a telegram to my partners in Sandakan. Arrive safely, stop audit commencing, stop situation precarious, stop wall report Monday, stop. Yes, that is all, thank you. She hangs up the receiver and sighs, smoothing her skirt. She looks down around the dusty office with a critical eye, noting the piles of disorganized papers. What am I doing here so far from civilization? I must be mad. Alrighty, well, let's have a look if there is anything that the telephone is going to find in future times. To see. Nothing happens. The pouch gets thrown out onto the croquet lawn as well. So we can perhaps look at what happens during the croquet lawn saga. We know that there's Jiro and Thingamagic. Okay, so there is stuff that is happening here, but the telephone can't hear it because it's not being used, I guess. So the object needs to actively be used or held or something like that to be able to actually get infused, I guess. We can also figure out who infused on the pearls. Oh, and the binoculars. The binoculars were held by Rose, weren't they? Oh, the binos. Were they Ludwig's? I can't remember where I saw them. What does it say? A set of binoculars. I wish that we knew exactly what scene that they came from. But I'm pretty sure that they came from the observatory, right? Maybe it's Dita. Where did we see the binos? Edward, do you have these binos on you? Vidlina, did you have these binos on you? Maybe it was you, Kanan. We know that Kanan also went into the jungle at some stage. It was after here, kitchen. So yeah, he's not Kanan from the clubhouse towards the jungle entrance. It's Kanan. So the jungle entrance might have Kanan here, or Kanan here. But he would be with Aisha at this stage. And perhaps Ludwig. Yes, okay. Kanan moves silently through the dune foliage, his weapon drawn. He spots moving ahead, a group of armed men waiting in the clearing. I knew it. He unsheathes his blade, ready to strike. A heavy blow strikes the back of his head. Pain explodes behind his eyes and the world tilts sideways. Kanan clumses to the ground, his blade flipping from his glass. He looks up, vision blaring, to see a tall man towering over him. Clumsy work, old son. A trained man like you should know to keep his eyes in the back of his head at all time. Ludwig Harrow raises his pistol, aiming specifically between Kanan's eyes. Hold your hand. Aisha steps out from the shadows of the trees. Ah, the little canary. Have your weakness for this stray dog, then? He has nothing but a bullet now that will rouse the whole plantation. The gunshot will echo from the cliffs to the very veranda. A fair reckoning. Time up. Leave him here. He can't stop you. Very well. But if this bites me, my girl, you'll be the one bleeding for it. Ludwig Harrow singles his men and they start walking silently towards the plantation. Right, so we know that Kanan is tied up here. Maybe with Aisha. Yeah. Aisha kneels beside Kanan, her hands trembling as she cuts the ropes binding his wrist. I thought I could control this, but they are monsters. Anan checks Kanan's pulse, relieved when she finds a faint heartbeat. She helps him sit up against a tree. Why can't I read today? Bloody hell. In the distance, a tall figure strides out from the entrance to the main bungalow towards the railway. It is the pirate captain and his men. Ludwig is not going back to the jungle. He is going to the tracks. Why? What is he planning? I should dance off into the night, following the men. Okay. So here in the railway, we know that there is Ludwig and Aisha. What are you doing? This is madness. His men are dousing the wooden carriages with kerosene. Why destroy the steam engine? You've scared Goodwill. You'll get what you want. I have a distaste for loose ends. I'm a man who believes in a bit of insurance. This iron road is a double-edged blade. The North Borneo Railway was uniquely right. We read about that. It's the quickest route for your master to bolt or for the armed constabulary to send their regards in a hurry. I prefer my guests to stay put and my enemies to walk. Ludwig Harrow tosses his lit cigar onto a kerosene-soaked carriage. With a roar the car ignites, flames leaping into the night sky. Aisha stares in shock as a fire reflects in her white eyes. Look alive, men, let's go. Aisha screams and jumps on Ludwig Harrow, grabbing his blade. One of the men shoots her before she can strike. Ludwig Harrow gets to the men to leave her as he kneels down to grab his blade back. Not a bad attempt, little bird. You have some gumption about you. Aisha is keeling over, grabbing her side. She starts to crawl towards the secluded breach, leaving a trail of blood behind it. Ludwig Harrow gestures to his men to make their way back to the darkness of the jungle entrance as he watches her go. So Aisha's at the secluded beach at this stage. Okay, but we don't know whom with. So at the jungle entrance, we know that Kanan is here by himself at this stage. Kanan stirs, groaning as he clutches his head. What? Memories clash back into him. The sudden blow, the pirates, and someone else. Someone untied him. Somebody he knows, but it's too much of a case. No, 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 no. He scrambles to his feet, swaying dizzily, and looks towards the distant lights of the main house. They'll kill them all. Ignoring the throbbing pain in his skull, he stumbles out into a desperate run towards the main house. Okay. Well, that didn't tell us too much of anything. We still need to figure out who had the binoculars and where I saw the binoculars. It was... right. Maybe Therese is in her room at this stage. No. In the study? Right. He makes his way back to the produce. Right. Must ensure the company remains at the table in the dining room. So, when the dining room stuff happens, she's making sure that Kanan is occupied. But then the explosion happens, and yeah. Alright, and this is where the women are talking about the thing. What about you and Jeremiah? Right, and then Cynthia leaves. And they bolt towards the veranda. So Cynthia leaves here. Do we know where Cynthia is at the moment? Yes, apparently we do. Because we haven't got too many more people occupied. She seems right, the library. she resumes her walk to the guest house calmly. So here in the guest house, she's here, and she finds the biohazard sample, right. And then she goes to the dining room. The dining room, we know that there is Jeremiah, Loon, Lucas, maybe Teresa, Edward for sure, maybe all of these people. No. Maybe not Teresa, because she's the... Okay. There was someone mentioning church as well. I know that Loon mentioned church at some stage. This is where... Does the bag get thrown out of here at any stage? Because we know that the bag is at the house. But so surely someone is picking it up, right? We know... Oh, the chapel. Yeah. It was a woman that was religious. Maybe Loon is at the chapel. Or, Teresa is at the chapel. With Luna. So someone's at the chapel here, but I don't know exactly whom it is. Let's have a look at the good old observation deck once again. Right. Maybe he's my St. George. Right. And so the mistress of the house must greet the master's little acquisition with becoming dignity. Right. Good evening, Rose. I'm Cynthia. It's a pleasure to meet you. Right. She's coming. Just like the black smoke coming from the south. Am I interrupting? Did the Lord answer your prayers? Right. So, yeah, Vitalina mentions that she comes from the chapel. So Vitalina is at the chapel prior to here. So she might be here in the chapel right now. Or prior. But she might be here with someone. Who else would Vitalina be here with? We've done these as well with the good old telephone, haven't we? And it's just telling us that these are somewhat incorrect. We got 2 other times in which... Yeah, 3 other times in which something happened, but the telephone wasn't used. But we know that the telephone was in the study for the entirety of the time, right? So that is certainly interesting. Now, in the master bedroom, right? No, not in the master bedroom, in the guest quarters, there was some... Yeah. Vita, whatever is the matter. So Rose, Cynthia, and Vita are all in this room here at the moment. And this is where the biohazard... Yeah. Vita, Rose, and Cynthia are all in here. Vita, speak to me. What has happened? It wasn't supposed to end like this. He wasn't supposed to die. Die? Who? Who is dead? Jerry? Jeremiah? Jerry? No, you're drunk, Vita. He's in the study. I killed him. I didn't mean to, I swear. Sobering up instantly, her voice commanding. Explain yourself, Adelita. What do you do? The curse, the pearls. I just wanted to save the plantation. I went to the Bomo, so I went to see in the chapel. Babalan Antio. He promised me a... Babalan Antio, a powerful shaman. I doubt I'll be able to find a photo of him. He's too obscure, too hidden in the shadows of history. I have to deduce his presence by other means. I need to think outside the box if I want to be able to piece together his movements. Right, a potion to clean the oysters. But he tricked me. It wasn't a cure, it was a tuju. Is a tuju a curse? Probably. As a curse for a shaman, the boma magically sends an object into a victim's body to kill them. The victim suffers sudden and unexplained agony, the stabs or the shakes. Western medicine finds nothing wrong. It's a terrifying concept blending psychological warfare with deep-rooted superstition. I gave it to him in his medicine, thinking it would remove the hex upon him. And then he fell and he didn't wake up. You poisoned him? It was an accident. I love Jiro. You know I wouldn't hurt him. A tuju? He gave you a tuju to kill Mr. Goodwill. He said it would drive away the bad spirits, but it was poison. No! No! Rose Goodwill scrambles off the bed, trapping on her gown, and bolts out of the room towards the croquet lawn. Rose, wait! Cynthia Civil grabs Vitalina Prohosky by the arm, holding her up. We have to go now, before you say another word to anyone else. Cynthia Civil picks up the biohazard sample and drags a wailing Vitalina Prohosky out of the room, chasing after Rose Goodwill. Okay, so they're all in the croquet lawn here. Rose Goodwill stumbles across the croquet lawn, starving hysterically. She trips over a brass hoop and sprawls onto the grass. She lets out a piercing wail, a sound of pure heartbreak. Cynthia Civil and Vitalina Prohosky catch up to her. Vitalina Prohosky pulls Rose Goodwill into a strong embrace. Shush, shush, my love. I am here. I am here. He is gone. It is your doing. Your awful, awful doing. As Vitalina Prohosky holds her tight, Rose Goodwill begins hammering her fists against Vitalina's chest, striking her over and over in a blind, hysterical fury. Black ash begins to run down harder. We found out about that last time, coating their hair and skin in soot. Cynthia Civil looks up, shielding her eyes. In the distance, she sees lights of invasion barders hitting the group strand on the secluded beach. God in heaven! Cynthia Civil reaches into her dress and pulls out a revolver. Rose Goodwill stops crying, staring at the weapon. You, who in blazes, are you truly? You are right to be suspicious, Rose. I am not who I say I am. That doesn't matter now. It matters is that we are in grave danger. The Japanese have made landfall, and we must get a move on. Cynthia Civil helms the woman to their feet. We must muster the others to the study on the double. As they enter the house, Ludwig Kara's party can be seen in the distance, arriving with torches in the darkness. So Ludwig Kara is here at this stage. And someone else. And we know that in this study, there is the biohazard sample. Rose Goodwill, Vitalina Prohosky, and Cynthia Civil, right, rush into the room. That is quite enough. Slapping Loon Goodwill. Loon Goodwill is also here. Sit down and hold your tongue, girl. We're subjects of the crown, not savages. Straightforward slapping Ludwig Goodwill hand before wresting the rest of her guard. Can I see to that woman's hand before she bleeds out on the floorboards? Now attend to me, the lot of you. Jeremiah's gone and no amount of hysteria will fetch him back. But the Japanese are on the bench and heading this way fast. We stay here arguing, we join them. MI5. I've been tracking a triad operation through the Straits. Jeremiah's pearl fiasco was attracting their attention. And Babali and Antu, who provided the tuju, one of his agents, most likely. Lucas Sterling offers his hand to Cynthia Civil for a shake. Well then, Mr. Sterling, it seems that we are on the same side. We need to get these people to safety. So we know that Lucas Sterling, Luna Goodwill, perhaps Kanan is here because he was the one that took the phone call. Jiro is probably here too, but we don't know exactly. Then Cynthia, Vitalina, and Rose. Yes, okay. Kananan's already in the study, pacing nervously. Loon Goodwill and Lucas Sterling walk into the room. Loon Goodwill stops dead in her tracks, staring at the body on the floor. Father? She rushes to Jeremiah Goodwill. She shakes him, but he is cold. Papa, wake up! You're frightening me! Loon Goodwill screams. She tries to lift him, but he is dead weight. Checking for his pulse and shaking his head. He's gone, Loon. I'm sorry. Loon Goodwill collapses into Lucas Sterling's arms, shoving her uncontrollably. He holds her tight, glaring at the other man in the room. It was a misadventure, an overdose. The pipe finally claimed him. He took too much shandu. Overdose? Look at his eyes. Opium doesn't cause that, poison does. Raising his rifle, aiming at him. You did this. You were the only bleeding soul in this room. No, I vowed my life. I found him in this state. Rose Goodwill, Vitalina Prokowski, and Cynthia Civil rush into this room. Hold your hand. Don't shoot him. It was not his doing. It was me. The room falls silent. Lynn Goodwill looks up from Lucas Sterling's chest, her eyes red and confused. You? Rose Goodwill is in shock. She is just staring at Jeremiah Goodwill's lifeless body, tears streaming down her soot-covered face, her ground ripped, torn, and full of mud from the fall outside. My love. It was an accident. I gave him the tuju. I thought it was a cure. Lynn Goodwill's expression slipped from grief to cold fury. In a flash, she snatches the rifle from Lucas Sterling's hand. Loon, no! Lynn Goodwill fires. The shot rings out very loudly in the small room. Vitalina Prokowski streaks, clenching her hand. Blood drips onto the rug. That is quite enough. Right, we've read these. Now, attend to me, the lot of you. Jeremiah is gone, but right. Okay. Lucas Sterling, lowering your rifle, eyes Cynthia Civil suspiciously. You're barking orders like a regimental sergeant major, Miss Civil. Just who the devil are you? MI5, right. We've read that as well. Lucas Sterling offers his hand to Cynthia Civil for a shake. SAS, monitoring the fifth column and gathering human intelligence on foreign powers, especially sent here to monitor Japan activities. Right, the Secret Intelligence Service, SAS, was the United Kingdom's first intelligence agency. Founded in 1909 and was responsible for gathering intelligence on foreign powers, particularly Germany and the Soviet Union, and monitoring the fifth column. It was later renamed MI6, because there were 6 of them. The fifth column was the name given to the Axis powers' espionage and sabotage activities in the Allied countries during World War II. It was a term coined by Winston Churchill to describe the Axis powers' efforts to undermine the morale and effectiveness of the Allied forces. We need to get these people to safety. I agree, but it's not that simple. The blank are coming in from the sea, but I've spotted the pirates dangling back this way through the mangroves. The Torchlight Railway. Edward and Dieter are with them. My Lubami? Oh, merciful heavens, tell me that he is intact. He seemed fine, from what I can see. That man can feed for himself. Vitalina, I shall help them. I realize that now. I was in a haze when I saw her dealing with their captain, but it's all falling into piece now. I say we try to reach the boathouse and reach my lord. It's a grisly sight, but probably our only way out of the stage. We can get to the boathouse undetected by taking the secret companionway to the chapel. It begins behind the paneling in the clubhouse, but we'll need the key from the library. Kanan, Cynthia, you escort the ladies to the clubhouse. Rose, take a rifle and come with me. We'll secure the key, as you know the hiding place. I am joining the party. You vowed to protect me. Very well, but no more sharpshooting our friends, do you hear? I am dreadfully sorry, Rita. I simply cannot grasp that Piapa is gone. Shots can be heard coming from outside. Everyone steps to the window. Some of the parties outside have torches, but it's difficult to see anything in the dark, and with the suit still raining down, it's pure chaos. And Mother? Where is Mother? One hopes Jiro has her under his wing. We only pray that they see the writing on the wall and find a way out. No, we can't just hope. It's my mother. I'm not losing her too. Very well, little man. A change of plan. I shall strike out and find your mother and Jiro. The rest of you carry on and is arranged. Then it's decided. I'm coming with you, Kanan. Loon Goodwill turns to Lucas Soaring. Sorry, Lucas, we have to part ways right now. It's my mother. It cannot be helped. Lucas Soaring shakes her hand. See you on the other side, young lady. Cynthia pulls out the biohazard sample from her pocket. One last thing. Mr. SAS, I take it this is yours. Indeed, this is a sample of the green mist, a chemical agent the Japanese have been perfecting in the Sulu Sea. A lot of good men died getting the sample. I'm glad it wasn't lost yet. Right, and that's when they disperse, and she says, good luck, everyone. Alrighty. So we've learned a lot. So Jeremiah, firstly, let's go back to the chapel. In the chapel here is Vitalina as well as the priest. Can we put in Guess as the priest? No. But we know the priest is here at this stage. the next thing that we can probably figure out is who goes where. So we know that at the library it's Rose and Lucas that goes here. After the chat in or was it? Oh no, it's like way later. It's like here-ish, right? Let's go back to the study for a second. Yeah, it's here. So it's at 1, 2, 3, 4. So they go back to the library at 4. Rose and Lucas, not Cynthia. Right. Lucas Sterling and Rose Goodwill scramble up the stairs, bullets chipping the plaster around them. Japanese soldiers are swarming the downstairs corridor. Into the library, move! They dive into the library and Lucas Sterling slams the heavy oak door, throwing the deadbolt just as heavy impact shatters on the frame. Bullets start splintering the wood. That won't have them for long. We need that key. Rummaging frantically in a hollowed out book. The key is not there! Someone has taken it already. The room is suddenly illuminated by a bright light from outside. They rush to the window and see the clubhouse erupting in a pillar of fire. The clubhouse is gone. The secret passage is useless now. Reloading his rifle. Lucas says, "What do we do now? We're trapped." Rose, "If we climb out of this library window, we can get to the roof. There's a safety ladder that leads down to the observation deck." "And then what? Jump is suicide. I always contemplated jumping from there as a good way to go. But no, the tides are up. It's deep enough, it should be perfectly safe at this hour. Well, safer than staying here anyway." "Right. Fine, let's do it." So then they climb up to the roof. So Rose and Lucas are here on the roof right now. My instincts told me I have everything to cover there is to see at this house. The remaining hours hold no secrets, so they automatically go down. That's nice. Lucas Sterling climbs out first, finding a precarious purchase on the soot-slick tiles. He rushes back to help Rose Goodwill. Rose Goodwill struggles with the voluminous silk gown, the wind whipping the fabric around her legs. She slips, the top clattering in the darkness below. "I've got you. Careful now. Bloody dress. I should have worn trousers." They pull themselves up to the roof, gasping for air. Look, the sun is on its way. The darkness is lifting. In the light of the incoming dawn, the aura of the night is laid bare. Smoke columns rise like black pillars from the escape. Below them, near the burning clubhouse, small figures are encased in a desperate melee. Luke Sterling uses the binoculars to have a closer look. Lucas Sterling spots Edward Bonfire, recognized by his sheer size, fighting off a group of savage Japanese soldiers with savage intensity. Is that Bone? He's fighting them off with his bare hands. And who's that running towards the chapel? Is that Miss Seville? It is. She made it. We need to keep moving. The ladder to the observation deck is this way. Right. So we know a lot of things. Firstly, we can find out that in the inventory, the binoculars are probably Lucas's. No. So who else had the binoculars? Were they? Do you reckon that they were Cynthia's because she's also a spy? Maybe Loon's. And who's the Pearls? Because the Pearls, they were taught by Vitalina. And then also, obviously Jeremiah picked them, but we tried Jeremiah before. Teresa seemed to want him to succeed with them. So yeah. The ladder to the observation deck. Sometimes it's hard to figure out who exactly was doing what, but we need to know these two are here. Dawn is breaking, painting the sky in blood-red hues. The black soot is starting to disperse. Lucas Sterling and Rose Goodwill stand at the edge of the observation deck, looking down at the devastation. The clubhouse fire is spread, consuming the gardens but around it. To the south, a railway fire has reached the dry tobacco fields, turning the horizon into a wall of flame. In the jungle, the pirates are retreating, their shadows flitting away from the advancing Japanese lines. The soldiers have secured the beach and are swarming the plantation. Look, down there! At the boathouse, Luke Goodwill and Teresa McIntyre are struggling with a rasp mooring rope. A squad of Japanese soldiers clothing onto them. They're trapped! They can't get the knot undone! Lucas Sterling raises his rifle and fires. Rose Goodwood joins him. They pick up the lead soldiers, but the range is too great and they're running low on ammunition. Damn it, I'm out. Me too, they're still coming. I have to go down there. Lucas Sterling climbs on the railway. Lucas, don't! You'll be shot the moment you surface. I have to try! He dives into the churning sea below. Oh, to hell with it. And she Gerominos into the water as well. So we know here that there is Loon Goodwill and Teresa McIntyre at the beach boathouse. Teresa McIntyre, Loon. Loon Goodwill and Teresa McIntyre stumble into the boathouse, slamming the door against the chaos inside. Loon Goodwill rushes to the raft, her fingers fumbling with the mooring knot. Come on, blast you. She turns to her mother. Mother, help me with this, it's stuck. Teresa McIntyre is leaning heavily against a stack of clays, her face ashen. Mother? Loon Goodwill rushes to her side. Teresa McIntyre's hands are pressed against her side, blood leaking through her fingers. Staining her dress a dark crimson. You're hurt. Why do you say anything? We have to keep moving, Little Moon. There was no time to stop. Suddenly, the boathouse door splinters as rifle butt smacking against it. Loon Goodwill screams, backing away. She raises her rifle, her hands shaking but determined. Get back, I'll shoot. The door gives way. Japanese soldiers crowd the entrance, bayonets fixed. Loon Goodwill closing her eyes, squeezing the trigger. But before she can fire, cracks of gunfire erupt from high above. Lady soldiers drop and others scamper back, confused, looking up towards the cliff. Loon Goodwill follows their gaze. High up on the observation deck, two figures are silhouetted against the dawn sky, rifles flashing. Lucas! I knew it! I knew you wouldn't leave us. And then you're still here, right? Loon and Teresa. I didn't think that Lucas and Rose would make it, but maybe they did. Within this hour. Right. Lucas, Sterling, and Rose Goodwill haul themselves onto the jetty, grasping for air. A deafening explosion roots through the beach behind them as a rocket impacts. What in the blazes was that? Divine intervention? Come on! They swim to the boathouse. Inside, Teresa McIntyre is slumped against a crate, her dress soaked in blood. Loon Goodwill is pulling her hand, weeping. Mother, please get up. Not this time, Little Moon. Not this time. Lucas Sterling quickly dries his hands on his trousers and examines the wound. It's bad. She's learnt too much blood. Come on, Loon. The raft is ready. No, I won't leave her. Go, my darling. Live for both of us. This place, it is all I know. It is fitting I stay. Teresa McIntyre grabs Rose Goodwill by her hand. Take care. Promise you look after her. I know we didn't always see eye to eye, but you're a good person and Loon loves you. I promise. Lucas Sterling grabs Loon Goodwill, screaming and kicking. Forgive me. He hoists her over his shoulder. Rose, untie the mooring. Rose Goodwill squeezes Teresa McIntyre's hand one last time. Teresa McIntyre nods. Aye, aye! They push the raft out onto the water. I can see lights in the darkness. Is that your launch over there? Let's go there quickly. Teresa McIntyre watches them go as light fades from her eyes. How sad. We also know that in this study, there was over here Vitalina and Jeremiah. Because Jeremiah got the stuff. But that might have happened. No, it definitely happened round about here, right? But who else did she meet? The binoculars as well. Do I just try everything against the binoculars? And the pearls and see who they identify as? We can try. Maybe it's none of them. Who has identified themselves against the pearls? Apparently Edward. Ah, because Edward owned the farm. That's right. I do remember now. We know that the pearls are in the library prior to various things. Now the binoculars we can do the same thing with. So we know that Lucas is using them later. I've kind of forgotten who had them prior. Maybe it was Jiro, and Jiro's just not here at this stage on my list of people. You'd think Jiro would just be like the rest, you know? Okay, so there's none of the people that we currently have, so it must be Jiro. Okay. But we know that the pearls started off in the library, the very start of the day. Nothing has happened in here. Nothing happened here. And nothing happened here. Oh no. Jeremiah Goodwill and Edward Bonfire enter the library. Jeremiah Goodwill opens the cigar box on the ornate ivory tile, hiding out a cigar to Edward Bonfire lighting up with a lighter. As an unmistakable click of a Dunhill lift down, Jeremiah Goodwill then puts it back into his vest pocket. But they do have a lot of orient in them. They're not glassy, I can see the luster. They're trying to rip you off. What about the shells though? They're still good. They're more value in the shells with the kind of volume we have. I'm telling you, right, Jerry. They're right. It is a curse. First the tobacco business dying up. Now the orchard is gaining this ominous red swell. Jeremiah Goodwill is still just cigars stares certainly at Edward Bonfire. What we can do, though, is put these two here. Because we know that they're here at this stage, correct? Right. And then we can also put that the lighter is with Jeremiah. So inventory lighter is Jeremiah's. Perfect. I know what you're saying, but Everett and Arsene agreed that red swell that appeared in our pearls means they might as well just be a piece of rock. They're worthless. They just cannot use them as mother of pearl jewelry. The whole batch of pearls have no orient bone. That's the verdict, right? They won't touch the cells. They're scared our pearls are contaminated with a curse. And the ones who don't believe think that it's chemical warfare from the blanks to kill us all off. I'm telling you, Jerry, they're right. It is a curse. First the tobacco business drying up, now the oysters getting this ominous red swell. Don't be so ridiculous, man. Edward Bonfire gets his hand in his pocket and throws a bunch of pearls at Jeremiah Goodwill. Look at them. Just look at them. They look like the devil's work. We're finished. It's the Brook Raj's Bomo, I tell you. Right. The British part of Borneo was divided into 3 territories. Sarawak, which was ruled by the Brook family, known as the White Rajas, British North Borneo, which was ruled by the British North Borneo Charter Company, and Brunei, which was a British protectorate where the Sultan still ruled. Yeah, I know about Borneo. The Bomo was the spiritual mythical Bornean shaman. They were highly respected and were often called upon to treat the sick and injured as well as perform more spiritual rituals. Right. They've wanted this land for years, and the Charter Company doesn't care now that they have their rubber and palm oil gold mines. Jeremiah Goodwill stares at the pearls rolling on the floor, then at Edward Bonfire. The company cares, Bone, but they are preoccupied. We all should be. This isn't a curse, it's geopolitical instability. The Japanese threat is real. Europe is in economic turmoil with the rise of Nazism. That's why the markets are spooked, not because of some witch doctor. You're blind, Jerry. You're far too removed from it all, sitting here in your ivory tower. Have you seen the green mist on the horizon? How in the hell do you explain that? It's been getting closer for weeks now. Or maybe you're the one who's blind. You don't know what's going out there, spending all day in the clubhouse, high on opium. If it's not the curse, then it's the Triad. The Chinese Triad was a highly organized criminal empire in Borneo and measured the island's illicit economy. We've done something to our stash, conspiring with the merchant to devalue the pearls so they can buy us out cheap. Enough! You're being paranoid. Stop this nonsense. We need a plan to save the plantation, not ghost stories or paranoid conspiracy theories. We'll meet with Cynthia after dinner. We need to go over financials and see what our options are. That's why I brought her back with me today. Of course it is. Anyway, it's 6 p.m. It's time for a sundowner. Are you coming? They're waiting for me at the clubhouse. I'll join you later. So at the clubhouse, we know that Edward has his pearls with him, at least early in the day here. Edward Bonfire sits alone in the dim light of the clubhouse. Patience, Bone. Nearly there. All right. Where are my boys? Speak of the devil. Have you seen here, Dita? Stop worrying. It's already. One hit won't hurt you. Come on, man. Stopping a bell. Good man. Have a seat. Edward Bonfire moves to the wooden bench, reclining on his side. He props his head on a hard peel. As the opium vaporizes, releasing a sweet aroma, Edward Bonfire takes a long pull. He holds it, eyes closing in ecstasy. Waste not, want not. So Edward Bonfire and someone else is here. Probably Jiro. Let's have a look at the pearls. The air in the clubhouse is thick with sweet smoke. Edward Bonfire and a Japanese worker lie motionless on the beach, eyes glazed. Jiro, do you still regret getting pushed into this? Edward Bone grows, shielding his eyes from the outside light. Tell him that I am indisposed. Alright, tell him I am coming. Right, and that's when he goes to the thing. Jiro's here by himself at the moment. Jiro not here. Right. So because Edward throws his pals along, we know that now we follow Jeremiah, right? So Jeremiah is out here in the study, was it? Yeah. Let's have a look at the lighter in the study, around about here. Because we know that Kanan finds Jiro. Well, Kanan and Jiro find Jeremiah dead here. From the phone. We also know that at the dining room, where Jeremiah is here with his lighter, right? So we can find out what Jeremiah is saying. I want to welcome our unusual guest to our little gathering. I must admit I was very suspicious of the young man when he arrived, but one can see the true character of a man in his actions. I must say I was pleasantly surprised by the way he reacted to our little incident. I can see his heart by now, how he protected Loon Goodwill, and gumption with how he didn't hesitate to run to the clubhouse. Of course it turned out to be a false alarm, but he did not know that at the time. Anyway, I just wanted to give a toast to the young man and welcome him to the plantation. To Lucas, cheers. Jeremiah Goodwill sits back down and first turns to Cynthia Seville. I hope we have met. You feel welcome so far, Miss Seville. Did you manage to reach out to the old colleagues to let them know that you've arrived safely? Splendid. Let's enjoy the evening there. Cheers. Jiro, so sorry about Bone and Herr von Guttram. Don't feel obliged to help them with their harebrained schemes this time. They can be quite persistent and evasive. Right, so Jiro's here too in the dining room. Let's grab the lighter, right? Right. Ludwig Harris strolls in, like Japanese worker, right? What are you doing here? How did you get in? Where's Kanan? What do you do to him? He had best be alive. I only just got back from Sandakan. I need some time. Right. Ludwig Harris walks over to Rose Goodwill and Cynthia Seville. Rose Goodwill growls at him, but Cynthia Seville just looks down. Ludwig Harris pulls out a cigarette. He pats his pockets. Jeremiah Goodwill hesitates and reaches into his pocket and pulls out his lighter. He flicks it open and offers the flame. Ludwig Harris takes the lighter from Jeremiah Goodwill's hand. He turns it over, admiring the gold plating. Nice piece, solid. I'll take this as a down payment. Want my money soon, Jeremiah Goodwill. I've borne this whole place to the ground. Bowing theatrically to the table. My apologies for the interruption, ladies and gentlemen. Please resume the festivities. Right. So Ludwig Caro now has the lighter at this stage. So we know Jiro is still here. And we still don't know Jiro's bloody last name. But eventually we will figure it out. I am sure of it. At the chapel, maybe the pearls were here. Or the lighter. No, we need something that is with Vidalina at all times, right? We know that Jiro was in the clubhouse. Right. Jeremiah is fanfic about the pearls. Right. And where does Dita go? Dita goes to the clubhouse, right? Dining room. Is there anyone in here? Yeah. Well, let's have a quick look if anyone is in the dining room prior. Well, worth doing, just to make sure that we're not missing anything. Okay, no, no one's there prior. Guest house, right. So this is where I'd imagine that nothing happens prior to them coming here. Yeah. And yeah. I honestly don't think it's worth it to do this, but, you know. I don't also think that anything happened here at this time. Let's try and figure out more about what happened. So here, right, we got Kanan running to the main house. We know that he arrives in the study about now. So maybe Kanan, but Kanan's in the study with, okay, so Kanan's somewhere else actually. He's in the kitchen or something like that. Maybe Aisha's in the kitchen at this time. We know that Aisha was also following thing. Right. And then at the guest, nothing happens in the library, right? The master bedroom. Right. And then they wander over. Jeremiah. So prior to this, Cynthia and Jeremiah share a drink. Button on perhaps because Jeremiah goes and finds Vitalina, right? So maybe they're here on the observation deck. Now at the railway, when Ludwig Hero answers to his men to make their way back to the darkness of the jungle extremes. Right. So Ludwig Hero is at the jungle entrance at this stage. And his men. Right, Ludwig Hero and his men are walking back from the railway tracks looking for a spot to set up a temporary camp. They start a small fire to heat up some camp food. Ludwig Hero takes off his vest, the gold lighter visible in the front pocket, and sits in a lock, sharpening his blade in preparation for the fight. So Ludwig's still here, right? No, but we can find out with the lighter. Okay, no. Because you'd think that he would move across. Kitchen. Can you take over? Alrighty. Aisha goes to the guest house here. We know that. Kanan marches out. I don't think anyone is happening here. They bolt towards the veranda. Right. And we figured out who was at the veranda, right? And then, yeah, we know that Jiro is in the dining room as well. Worker quarters. Let's have a look here. Anything happen at this particular time? No. I don't really want to do the time strategy, you know? What we do know, though, is at the master bedroom, the pearls are now sitting on the floor. So the pearls are sitting in the master bedroom. Let's find out if there is anything that happens to them. Like, where do they get picked up? Do they get picked up? Does anyone care about pearls? At all? And it's interesting, there's a Japanese person, right? So Jiro is Japanese. I wonder if the Japanese would save him. Or if he's giving them intel. Perhaps. So I'm gonna guess that nothing further happens with the pearls. They're just lying here on the floor, doing nothing the entirety of the time. Now, Lucas has the biohazard sample, but we kind of know what Lucas does after he gets onto the roof right here. Because then they swim to the boathouse here, and then they leave on the boathouse. The railway guys, here we know that Ludwig Hero goes back to the, and Aisha goes to the secluded beach. Now, in the secluded beach, did we find anything? Well, we know Aisha was crawling her way here. Right. Aisha stumbles onto the jungle path onto the sand, clutching her side. A dark stain is spreading rapidly across her white uniform. She closes near a set of caves in the limestone, her breathing ragged and shallow. Dieter? Dieter. The beach is empty. There is no Dieter von Guttram. You said you would be here. Wait by the rocks, you said. We will sail away. You promise. She cries to call towards water, but her strength fails her. Hands fall limp to the side of the child, gently laps at her fate, and a life fades from her. How sad. So, observation deck. We know that they run off there. We probably know that there's nothing happening for a wee while at the observation deck. I don't really want to do what I've been doing there and just checking all the times to see if anything happened at that particular hour. When we can figure out from the... Right. So what we can find out from the talk in the study is what the other group did, right? Because the other group went to... Right, the man can fend for himself. We can get to the boathouse, right. Kanan, Cynthia, you escort the ladies to the clubhouse. Okay. And my mother, one hopes... No, we can't hope. I shall strike out and fetch your mother and Jiro. The rest of you carry on as arranged, right. Then it's decided that I'm coming with you, Kanan. So it looks like at this stage, Kanan is going with Lurn, and then the remaining women are going Cynthia and the ladies, Rose and Vitalina. No, just Vitalina. Cynthia and Vitalina are going in the clubhouse. So let's have a look at Cynthia and Vitalina. Right, Cynthia, Seville, and Vitalina Prorosky race towards the clubhouse, ducking low to avoid the stray bullets whizzing through the air. They reach the end of the clearing just as the roof is fully consumed by fire. The secret companion way is behind the paneling. We have to. A massive explosion rips through the building as alcohol still detonates. The shockwave throws Cynthia Seville backward into the bushes. Timber and burning thatch rain down around her. Coughing in dazed, she scrambles to her feet. Vitalina, Vitalina. There is no sign of Vitalina Prorosky, only roaring flames and the sound of battle closing in. Between the smoke, she sees silhouettes of pirates clashing with uniformed soldiers. Confound it! The entire scheme has gone quite to the dogs. She spots a gap in the fighting towards the edge of the plantations. The others would have heard that. They know the route is cut. I must strike for the chapel alone. Reach the plain rendezvous. It is the only card I have left to play. Cynthia Seville stays low. So she goes towards the chapel at this stage. Now we know Cynthia Seville paces nervously inside the small stone chapel. Where are they? The boathouse is still empty. She peers out the narrow window, watching the chaos unfold below. Her eyes slit as she spots two figures on the roof of the main house. What in God's name are they doing? She watches Lucas Sterling and Rose Goodwill scramble out to the observation deck. Mad, utterly mad. She turns back to the chapel interior, her eyes scanning the stone wall and walls. Wait a minute, the companionway. This isn't just a chapel, it sits atop a reinforced structure, a war bunker. She sits aside a heavy altar cloth and finds a trapdoor secured with a rusty padlock. Got you. She grabs a heavy stone, but before she can strike, she notices something. The lock is already opened. So Cynthia Civil examines the trapdoor. The dust is unsettled. Someone was here not long ago. She hears the trapdoor open, revealing a ladder leading down. Well, this changes things. She descends into the darkness and re-emerges from the trapdoor, dragging a heavy wooden crate. So we know Cynthia is in the companionway now. Where's the secret companionway? Though it sounds like there's someone else potentially in the companionway at this time. Really, nothing is happening in the secret companionway. Right. Cynthia Civil pries open the wooden crate. Inside, covered in dust, are hail rockets. God bless the British paranoia. The hail rockets were a series of rockets designed by the British. They're designed to be launched from the ground and were used to attack Japanese positions. The hail rockets were a formidable weapon and were used by the British in many battles. Just gonna quickly mute myself. Alrighty, I'm back. Okay. She rushes to the window. Down below, Lucas Sterling and Rose Goodwill have serviced and are swimming towards the boathouse. The Japanese soldiers are lining up on the shore, taking aim at the helpless swimmers. They're sitting ducks, not on my watch. She heaves one of the rockets onto the windowsill. It's an old crude missile, heavy and rusted. She strikes a match against the stone wall and lights the fuse. Fire in the hole! The rocket hisses, sparks flying and screeches out of the window in a powerful blast. It streaks down towards the beach, slamming into the sand right in front of the Japanese squad. Sand and shrapnel spray everywhere. The soldiers scatter, diving for cover, visibly shaken by the unexpected artillery. Ha! She reaches for another, but the crate is empty. Damn, there was really only one. Bullets start chipping the stone around the window. Great, now I'm the sitting duck. She crawls back inside the chapel as a hail of lead hammers the exterior. Okay, so Cynthia is still in the chapel. Cynthia Civil is pinned down in the chapel, stone chips flying as bullets strafe the interior. She risks to glance out of the window and sees the raft pushing off from the boathouse. Go on now. Get out of here. She checks her revolver. 2 rounds left. I could make a run for it. She tried to swim. She looks at the beach, swarming with soldiers. Who am I kidding? I'd be cut to ribbons before I hit the water. She slides and slumps against the wall. Well, Cynthia, you wanted a more exciting life than drafting wolves. Be careful what you wish for. She grips the revolver tight. Right, let's make the king proud. He stands up, preparing for a final tower. But a moment of heroism cut short as a different sound cuts through the gunfire. Sirens, boat sirens. She looks out the window. Rounding the headland are the sleek white cutters of the armed constabulary, and behind them a line of grey warships. The cavalry! Bloody navy is here! She sinks to the floor, laughing tears of relief at the heavy guns of the destroyers begin to thunder. Let's have a look. I don't have enough information to identify the soldiers who follow the trail past this hour yet. I need to come back later. Are you sure? The gunfire is replaced by the orderly shouting of naval officers as they unboard from the launches. Cynthia Civil walks out of the chapel into the morning sun, holstering her revolver. She looks out onto the state. The fires are being brought under control, but the scars on the land are permanent. She reaches into her pocket for a cigarette case, her fingers brushing against something smooth and round. She pulls it out. It is a single perfect pearl. The rose swirl inside it catches light, glowing like a dying ember. She rolls it between her fingers, thoughtful. A souvenir, lest we forget. She slips the pearl back into her pocket and lights a cigarette. A Navy officer approaches her, hand on her holster. Relax, Lieutenant. I'm Cynthia Civil, MI5. All the information about what transpired here tonight. But first I need to clean myself up. Then I will debrief you. She walks back past the stunned officer towards the wash house, head held high. A superior officer by the veranda is not shocked as easily. You go clean up and meet me at 10 a.m. sharp for the debriefing. Cynthia Seville pretends to ignore him, but she smiles as she continues walking to the washhouse. We will get that person later. But for now, let us put that the singular pearl was hers, Cynthia's, for the entirety of the time. The owner of an item can be deceptive sometimes. The pearl should be owned by Bone or Jeremiah in theory, but it was with Cynthia for so long that it's imbued with their essence. Yes, I did think that Bone or Jeremiah could be the owner if I was wrong about Cynthia, but I was right about Cynthia. Now, I know that it's probably going to tell me off if I guess that she was at the guest house right now, but she was. My instincts tell me I've uncovered everything there is to see at this location. The remaining hours hold no secrets. Cynthia Seville looks around the estate, watching the Navy officers reboot the last of the Japanese soldiers back to the Durnville. Silent gunfire dissipating and slowing down as they regain control of the plantation. Young soldiers are running around attempting to quell the clubhouse fire while the tobacco growing sheds by the railway are but a smouldering wreck now. Cynthia Seville enters the washhouse and sits down next to the Shanghai jar. She dips her head in, the cold water washing away the exhaustion on her face. She carefully places the pearl on a countertop as she gets undressed. I shall leave her here to the solitude of the ladle bath, contemplating her fate and the fate of her comrades, as she attempts to watch the suit of Borneo from her skin. Right. Right. So that's Cynthia's story, allegedly. We know that the singular pearl comes with her for a little while as well. She's in the... Well, we know that we've heard her story in the thing video camera. Is Bone also at the dining room? I don't think he is, for some weird reason. We can probably find out. Right. A partial echo from the pearls, right? Because it'll be the same as the pearl, as the biohazard, because the biohazard and the pearls are with the same person. Right. So yeah. We get more from the lighter. Well, Jeremiah has a lighter when he dies. I'm gonna guess. No, Ludwig has it there. And then we know that this is where Ludwig gets his blade. He's like, yo, I'm gonna kill these Japanese. Right. Ludwig Harrow goes through the corpse's effects. What do we have here? Ludwig Harrow gestures to his men to get the corpse out of here. He composes himself, putting his vest back on. He splashes water from a canteen into his face. It is time. Gather your gear, check your weapons. Tonight the Goodwill plantation falls. So Ludwig Harrow is just here by himself at this stage. Right, he finds a key to the passageway and pockets it. Right. Ludwig Harrow gestures to mean right. He looks toward the plantation now, mostly dark, save for a few lights. Gather your gear, check your weapons. Right. And then Ludwig comes here. So there is a corpse here. Maybe Kanan's corpse. Because, no, Kanan's somewhere else. So who else would have a entrance? Maybe, but we see Edward later smacking his hands against the Japanese army inside the, like, croquet lawn. Being so cool. Because we see that we can also try and figure out who in we have not figured out yet for people that leave to places. Because Kanan and what's her name go to try and find Teresa McIntyre. And on the observation on the roof, we find out that Teresa McIntyre is somewhere, right? So right, Lucas spots uses the binoculars. A desperate melee. Right, so at the clubhouse is right here is Edward Bonfire smacking his hands against the Japanese. Edward Bonfire moves to the garden like a demon shooting his way through the invaders. 3 Japanese soldiers fall in quick succession. He empties the revolver and hurls it at a soldier's face. A bayonet lunges. Edward Bonfire deflects it, drawing his knife in a blur of motion. The blade finds the soldier's throat. Edward Bonfire catches a bullet in the thigh. He grunts but doesn't slow down. He snatches a dead soldier's pistol and fires point blank into the next attacker. He is surrounded. The soldier raises his rifle to execute him. A pirate bursts from the bushes, a crease flashing in the torchlight. The soldier is skewered. More pirates join the fray, engaging the Japanese in brutally close quarters. Edward Bonfire staggers on, annoying the chaos. His eyes focus on the burning clubhouse. Takes another hit to the shoulder and another to the gut. He reaches the inferno and sees a hand sticking out from under the eclipse spleen. Vitalina! He plunges his hand into the burning wreckage, face shuddering. He hears a beam aside with a roar of pure agony. He drags Vitalina Picotti's broken body onto the sand. She is gone. Edward Bonfire collapses behind her. He brushes the ash from her face with a trembling hand. I'm here, love. I'm here. He kisses her on the forehead one last time. He looks up and sees lights a little way from the shore. Look, my love, a launch. It's coming to save us. We can still make it. He does not move again. The fire roars over them, consuming the clubhouse and the lovers together. So sad. While we know that Lucas is boat as well, and Lucas, Loon, and Rose all on it at this stage. They row frantically towards the large boat anchored offshore. Bullets zip past them, splashing into the water. Row! Row harder! The shooting stops suddenly, but they're too focused to notice. They reach the launch and scramble aboard. The deck is a grim sight. Bodies of British and Japanese soldiers lie rotting in the sun. Lucas Sterling goes to check the engines. She'll run! They look back at the shore. A line of grey warships has appeared on the horizon. The Union Jack flies from their masks. I cannot bloody believe it! The Navy, they're here! Too late for the plantation, but just in time to give the blanks bloody nose. Lucas in the store stands at the stern, watching the smoke rise from her home. Do you want to go back? Lugan Goodwill looks at the burning land, but then at her companions. There's nothing left for me there. Nor for me. Jerry is gone. Vida, everyone. Then we go. Contracts in London. We can start fresh. New names, new lives. Lucas Sterling guns the engines in the boat towards the open sea, leaving the nightmare of Goodwill Plantation behind. Saloon made it out of the plantation alive. I need to let Mr. Goodwill know as soon as possible. Although I do think that there is still more to discover about what happened at the plantation and why. Maybe I can find some clues as to where they went to from here. Well, we don't have the boat. Unless Lucas's boat counts. But we know that they left at this stage. And I'm guessing that they're not available to collect at any future areas. Also, Lucas's boat should have Lucas on it at some stage, right? It's in the boathouse at all the stages of the times. Yeah, we know that Vitalina's in the chapel at some stage. We've got something else in our inventory now. A key to the passageway. A key to unlock a secret passage. Now, I believe that Jiro has this, but it might be Kanan. It's held by someone's body. Now, we know that the person whose body it is on dies and is killed by Ludwig. Maybe it's Dita. Because Dita dies as well, but we don't know exactly when he dies. Let's go back to the guest house. No, not the guest house, the study. Because we need to find out where what's his name went. Jiro went. So it was Jiro and Loon who went out to see something. These two. Where do you think they went? Maybe to Teresa's room? Because they're looking for Teresa? The veranda, perhaps? They went somewhere to find Teresa. I wonder if we can use the photo as well. No. To find out what happened here. But we do know that they found her. Eventually. So maybe she's at the railway, or the master bedroom, or the observation deck, or the Lucas's boat. No, they won't be there. Right, I know that for sure. Maybe the kitchen. Jungle entrance, perhaps. Maybe the croquet lawn. Nope. Clubhouse? No, we know the clubhouse. Maybe at the chapel. Or the boathouse. Where do you think Loon and Kanan went? Because it says here, right, that they went to find the mum. And we know that eventually the mum was found. So, yeah. And we know that Jiro left this room, right? Oh, the phone. Right. Stop worrying, Jiro. I'll take care of it. Right. And she has us. Right. Just go to bed and don't let anyone see you. I'll wait for the reinforcements here. You go. Right. And we know that at some stage there was Jeremiah and Vidalina. And Vidalina was killing Jeremiah with some good old poison. I wonder if the biohazard sample is perhaps here. Because we know that she got some poison from something. And did something with it, right? A secret companionway. We also know that in the chapel there was this mention of a 10 a.m. sharp for a debriefing. So this is 10 a.m. Cynthia is here with another soldier. But where did she say to meet? You go clean up and meet me at 7 a.m. Veranda, I guess. The veranda, Cynthia. Nope, but someone else was here. A faded photograph. We still haven't found Jiro's last name either. Know that Jiro is smoking opium in the clubhouse at this stage. You know who else was here? Probably... So Jiro was definitely here. Jiro was definitely here. I ain't got nothing that is Jiro coded. Apart from the thing that we can't say is Jiro coded. Then the whole thing explodes with Jiro in it. Jiro, he goes to dinner later. What is Jiro coded? I feel like I'm going insane. Perhaps we just reread all of the information that we've got. Because we did get another piece of information that I wanted to put in. There's something regarding the guys, the soldiers. I wonder if our master bedroom is finished. What do you reckon? We could also just submit it now that we know that. So there was one thing that happened in the master bedroom. Was it these two going at it? No? Vidalina? The room is empty. Vidalina Prokofsky slips inside, closing the door softly. She approaches the nightstand where a medicine bottle sits. She pulls a vial from her pocket. She uncorks the medicine vial and pours its contents into a plant pot. Then she pours the liquid inside the vial into the medicine bottle. She recorks the bottle, hiding the empty blue bottle, and turns to leave. As she exits, her gaze lingers on the letter resting on the dresser. Oh, Rose. Okay, so the empty blue bottle we know is Vidalina's, and more importantly, she got the empty blue bottle at the chapel right at the start of the day. So let's put the empty blue vial here. The shaman, an old wizened man dressed in traditional Bayou garb, emerges from below the altar. It is not the lamb that is sick, Man Petrosky, it is the master. A dark shadow clings to him, a spirit of greed and despair. It bleeds into everything he touches. The pearls, they are but tears of the infected sea. I cannot, but the spirits of the deep offer a bargain. The shaman pulls a small blue vial from his robes. It glows faintly in the dim light. This water is blessed by the sea spirits. It will cleanse the shadow from his soul. Well, we know who the shaman is. He must drink of it. One draught and the curse will lift. The pearls will clear. Are you certain? It looks dangerous. The shaman bows and retreats into the shadows under the chapel. Vidalina Pokrovsky clutches the vial to her chest. Right. And then she goes to the master bedroom and poisons. We know as well that there's a letter. Let's read that letter before we end the day. Documents. Letter. To my husband. Jeremiah, I find that I can no longer endure this wretched existence. The stifling isolation, the heavy silence of the jungle, and this constant gnawing dread have become quite unsupportable. It is clear to me now that you are wedded to this estate and its resources, but I have become little more than a ghost in your house. I care for you indeed. I have cared for you with all that remains of my heart, but I fear I am now a stranger to you. I desire only for this ache in my breast to cease. I beg of you, do not come and search for me. By the time you have read this, I shall have been quietly claimed by the sea. And going by to the cove in our secluded beach, I've always held it dear, for it holds the ghosts of the days where you still looked at me with kindness. I shall reminisce on those lost hours as long as I allow the tide to take me. Rose. Well, we know Rose did not do that. Rose, though, may have been at the secluded beach at some stage. We know that she was here at certain hours, perhaps, maybe. Rose. Nope, nothing there. Let's see if she comes here prior to her like little dinner, because we know that she's got dinner at some stage. And then she's busy for like the rest of the night, really. So yeah, Rose never actually goes to the secluded beach. Alrighty. Lucas, Lunable and swim into the blah. You're hurt. Where did they stumble in from though? And so Loon will be here somewhere, right? With Teresa. Right. Clubhouse. Where do you think they were? No? I reckon they were at the kitchen. Right. The kitchen is dark, right. There we go. Loon Goodwill is standing guard as Kanan breaks the lock on the back window. He climbs halfway out, checking the perimeter. It looks clear. Come on, men. He reaches back to help Teresa McIntyre. Suddenly he spots movement in the bushes outside. Get back! And both of automatic gunfire shreds the wooden window frame. Kanan is hit multiple times. He jerks violently and falls back into the kitchen, blood pooling on the tiles. Kanan! A Japanese soldier appears at the window, pointing his weapon at Teresa McIntyre. Loon Goodwill screams and raises her rifle. She shoots and the soldier's head snaps back as he crumbles at his side. Loon Goodwill grabs Teresa McIntyre's hand. Run, mother, run! They vault over Kanan's body and through the shattered window, sprinting in the darkness towards the boathouse. So we know that they were at the... Prior to the kitchen, they were somewhere else. So perhaps it's somewhere else at the house. The like Teresa's room, perhaps. I think I already tried that. We know that Teresa was screaming inside her room at some stage. It would have been here anyway, right? Veranda? Workers' quarters? Not Teresa's room. Not, perhaps the study? But we know that they all left right here. And we know that she was found. So where was Teresa found? Perhaps. Roof. Railway observation deck. Master bedroom. Lucas's boat. Wouldn't be Lucas's boat. They'd have to run a long way to get there. Library. Jungle entrance. No. Dining room. Nope. Croquet lawn. Nope. Clubhouse. Nope. Chapel. Nope. And boathouse. Nope. So where is Teresa hiding? We probably don't know yet. That might be something for the next episode to figure out. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, or subscribe. And in the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. See ya!